Hello everybody. So I'm not totally sure how this is gonna go, but today I'm gonna try a Stitch with Me video and I'm going to be talking. I should warn you that my son is awake. He's not napping and he is currently in the other room. So you may hear some noise coming from him and there's not really much I can do about that. He doesn't start school until later this month, but for now, we will just have to hope he's going to be behaved. And for some reason, of course I say he might be loud, he's for once being pretty quiet in the other room. But I'm not going to complain, I like quiet noise. So today I'm working on Cuties 3 and I received this as a freebie from Fancells when one of my orders came and it was one of those kits that would not wash out. Let me just get started really quick. Just trying to set myself up here. Alright, so the only thing, I can really think about to tell you guys or really talk about today off the top of my head is to kind of introduce myself more formally to you all. So I think I will start with my cross-stitching journey and then just kind of what my life is about. So about 3 years ago, I was living at my fiance's parents' house and I got an ad on Facebook for tapestry market, believe it or not. And I've never heard of cross-stitch being stamped before, so of course, I went and bought some. Now, I think all but one of the kits are discontinued at this point. I just pulled a tail through, didn't I? I'll just cut it. But I ordered a few kits from them and I wasn't used to buying stuff that took so long to get to me and I just cut the wrong thread, didn't I? Okay, well now you're also gonna watch me take this out. And I bought some kits from them and I wasn't used to shipping taking so long. So I got Angie and I messaged them a few times and it's been weeks and nothing shipped yet, but sure enough, it shipped in an actually reasonable amount of time, which I now realize I was getting mad over nothing. So Tapestry Market, if you see this, I am so sorry for my attitude. But I did get the kits and I absolutely loved it until I had to pack up and move away. And let me tell you, I could not find anything I packed when I moved. So I just kind of stopped working on the kit for a while, but I recently finished the one I had started. You can find it on my channel under my very first Whips and FOs video. And I think it's called Fox Girl or Winter Call, something like that. Full of backstitching, full of French knots, but I got it done and it's beautiful. So fast forward to the new place I am living. I found those kits when I was organizing my work stash, and I'll go over that in a bit. And I decided to start it up again, and that's when I finished it. And me being me, I like to listen to other people review things or do them as well. So I discovered that there are a lot of people on YouTube that like stamped cross stitch. So here I am. And I figured if they can make a video, I can. So my first few videos are a bit dodgy, but now that I have a better camera, I can make better quality videos. I can have better audio. Like, look at that. Zooms in nice and crisp if it wants to. There we go. And so I became addicted. I spent so much money on stamped kits, and I've been doing them ever since. And I've never really been into cross stitch. I've always been into crochet. And let me tell you about that. I started crocheting maybe when I was 13. My aunt had tried to teach me and I failed at it, but I've always been craft heavy. So I just kept trying to reteach myself or teach myself properly over the years. And as of 3 years ago, I actually started my own crochet business. That's right. I cross stitch for fun and I crochet for money. I am a pattern designer and a clothing designer. And I think this will be the only video I link my shop down below, just in case any of you do like crochet patterns or crochet. I also do have a crochet YouTube with some free tutorials on it, but I will warn you, they are more cutesy things because that's the audience I made. So for me, my crocheting actually got registered as a business those 3 years ago because I, on a whim, decided to write my first pattern, and I think I helped boost the bucket hat craze because my pattern, when I listed it on Etsy, immediately became a top seller, and it still is to this day. I now copyright all my work because I have had people try and steal it because it's been that popular. But if you are into crochet, I will leave my info for you to follow or buy patterns on my website in the description. That way you can kind of find me below. My son is really quiet and I don't trust that. Give me one moment. He's just being surprisingly good. He's being very quiet today. It's like he knows, oh, mama needs mama time. But yeah, that's kind of what I do for a living. There are months where it gets really hard, so I'm honestly not sure if I can buy kits for a while because my income kind of dropped off, like my summer sales. And where I'm a single mother and I don't get child support or benefits, I really kind of am just scraping by right now, so I don't have the free money anymore to be buying kits. That, and I had a budget for crafting, and I think I can confidently say that I have emptied and drained that crafting budget, and everything left goes towards my quarterly taxes and supplies for my shop, which surrounds my entire living space. I'm not even kidding. I have like several shelves full of yarn and completed projects, and I'm so bad at advertising myself on social media that just nobody can find me because I have a milder case of autism, and then my son is he's severely autistic, so we don't really go out much or like being out much, and we struggle in those departments. So I don't know what we're going to be doing when school starts. I know he's starting short days and they're going to meet me in the middle and drop him off after school, but I still have to go bring him in. Thankfully, I don't live too far of a walk away because I do not drive due to health reasons and PTSD from childhood. So I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of doing, I think this is the sewing method. Let me see. I'm bad at going down with it, but I kind of just go under. Hold on. I like to keep my screen on so I have light. My studio apartment is all windows and you still can't get no light in here. See, just kind of, I know it's not going to want to focus, but just like that. And I do not stitch this method when I really want my stitches to be neat. I will use, I think it's called a scroll. It's a scroll type thing that hangs onto it. But I don't really like to use it. I prefer to go in hand, so, because I like doing the sewing method. It's faster. I don't do projects for the process. I am a product maker, which is probably why I stopped knitting and went into crochet. because it's much faster. It just takes more yarn. But that's okay. So I just want to talk really quick about what I'm going to call the generic kits, whereas you would call Joy Sunday maybe a name brand. So with the generic kits, we all notice that sometimes it would need backstitching to have the detail we really want in it. But one thing I'm not so sure about, hold on, is with the generic kits, they kind of pixelate it to a point and it would get shaded to where the back stitching would already be incorporated into the base stitches. So if you did want to maybe do some back stitch on that, it would probably already have some black stitches up there because the program that converted it picked it up and turned it into a full stitch. So it might be a little lumpy regardless if we try to add back stitch, but it's still something I really want to get into because I'm so curious. I'm sure there will be some situations where it will look fine when you add backstitch, but other times I'm just a little bit worried that it would look weird. So another fun fact about me that you probably don't know is Nim is not my birth name. My birth name is Haley, and my father named me that. But the problem with that is my father is not a part of my life, and he never was. So I dated this one man for, I want to say, oh gosh, like 7 years. Maybe 5 or 6. I really can't remember. It started young. And him and my friends just started calling me Nim, and because Nim's Secrets, or The Secret of Nim, whatever it's called. And I am very quiet in person, and I don't like to talk a whole lot. So everyone would always kind of be like, oh, she's keeping secrets. Which I probably was. But I have been called Nim for maybe 14 years. And the only reason I did not legalize it is because with my business, that's a lot of paperwork. And because I was constantly moving state to state before I had my son. Though it would be nice to legalize it, but at this point I would like to get married first, since, you know, doing paperwork to change my last name anyways. But I guess that doesn't really matter. As long as people respect what I want to be called, that's fine. There we go. I've just been trying so hard to get one kit done at least. I've only finished 2 so far, but that was before I actually started getting all of these other kits in the mail. So I am a procrastinator, and with my autism comes ADHD, and with my ADHD comes OCD. And I don't mean OCD as in the, oh, I'm so OCD. I mean it in the way where it actually affects my day-to-day life and takes hours of productivity away from me. But I don't know what to pick for the next kit once I finish one. And so I did this thing where sorry about my phone's bunny ears, I downloaded this wheel, but since I have trouble reading things because my brain races too fast, I'll have to read it 7 times before I understand what the name is. Let me cover everything else. I have downloaded this app. I don't know how well my camera's going to show this. I've downloaded this wheel app. And I kind of organized them from generic, which is the ones that don't have names, Joy Sunday, me trying to save money, am I going to buy this week or not buy, and my in progress kits, and then my brand kits. So the first thing I typically do is my in progress, which decides what kit I'm going to work on for the day. And if I'm going to start a new one, I will go to the brand, We'll spin it. Sorry if that's loud. And it will pick. So licensed for me would be ones like Mirabilia or Dimensions or something, but I also have Joy Sunday, the generic. I have counted kits because I separated those out, and I have Spring in there, and I'm just counting DIY under generic because they're not my favorite. And so once I pick that, I'm gonna add more wheels instead of just the Joy Sunday, and then I will go to that wheel and pick from that wheel of what I'm gonna do. But these are not all my Joy Sundays by any means. These are just the ones I got recently when I started this wheel, and you can see I kind of model the colors from what's in the kit to help me find it more quickly, because focusing is not my forte. I do not like to focus. But yeah, that's kind of what I use to do that, to kind of help me keep my little brainy brain in check. And I gotta tie this off where I put it. Well, I don't know, I flipped it. I'm not gonna be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, I know. I have this last, okay, down here. So this is how I end mine. If I can get it, just go up from the top, right up in there, pull it through. I kind of push my crosses down out the way to go through the center. Pull it through. And then I will go back up through the other side. And back down through the center. So I just kind of tack mine down, because if you've seen the back of the first kit I did, it is atrocious. I do not like it. And this one's a little more kempt. Not completely though. Here's the first girl I did. And then I accidentally got a knot down here. I don't know how that happened. I tried my darnest to get rid of it, and I just could not get it out. And I'm so sorry. It looks like there's cat hair in it. Which is why this is a me craft and not a for selling craft, because with my yarn, I keep it separate from the air in my living space, because I do not need my cat hair all over it. And I am severely allergic to animals with dander, so I take a boatload of medication, but she is the cutest Maine Coon kitty you will have ever seen. She is this kind of ashy white, and she has like this deep mask on her face of gray, and her paws and her tail. They used to be cream colored when she was a cute little kitten, but they've really darkened up as she's aged. Right, color 17. See if I can grab it. This also, I'd like to show you how I organize my threads. So, some tail pieces on there. This is the thread I have not started working from yet. And then when I've started pulling from a strand, it's kind of mangled up right now. When I've started pulling from a strand, I put the strand I pulled from the next closest to it, and then the strand that I already used, if there's like enough length left, I put it on the very end. So that's just kind of how I organize myself, so I stay sane. But that's not to say I don't absolutely lose threads all the time. And me being me, you should see the back of my headboard in my bedroom. It is covered in the tails of threads because I snip it at night when I'm cross stitching, and I just throw it up there. And I told my friend that I'm just going to keep throwing them there and leave them there and keep the cat out of my room, of course, because I don't want her eating it. And I'm just going to see how big my pile gets, because call me a child, but some children have booger walls. I have a thread wall building. So if you've seen my fan cells video about the service quality and where I got that kit that wasn't washable, and I didn't discover that until I saw, I think it was Lovecraft Forever, post a video with like the red warning symbols and all that about how they don't wash. And then I tried to wash it, and I contacted them, which is how I got this kit. But I believe I went over how I bought my own canvas that I can cross stitch that same pattern on it, because the pattern wasn't smudged to the point where I couldn't read it. So I went ahead and I bought a new canvas, and it's a kind of pinky color since the cross stitch in question had a lot of pinks in it. And I also found a brand for $30, and it is exactly the same thread that these kits give you, and I'm going to be using that to replace the thread I already worked on that canvas that won't print. So hopefully that goes well. Another thing I'm really excited about trying is, sorry about that, I'm drooling a little bit. Another thing I'm thinking about doing is I want to take a generic kit, and since I'm not the biggest fan of 14 count, I've been stocking up on my own 14 count Aida, because 11 count is not, it doesn't look the best to me. And I figure if I take the same pattern that's in an 11 count and move it to a counted canvas of my own in 14 count, the kit already comes with enough thread for me to still do that pattern, only the stitches will be small enough to look good. So that's something I would like to do a video on in the future. I'm fairly excited about getting that done as well. I just need to determine which kit, and I can't use the wheel for this one because I have to make sure it's small enough, because I don't have a whole lot of patience for counted, even though I do have several counted projects, but those are because they're mostly patterns I bought from like Etsy, or I bought it from like AliExpress, and they don't have the option to come printed. Like this one I worked on in my last video where I messed up the windows. Or I didn't mess it up in the video, but I noticed in the video that it was the wrong color, because it was the same color as this, but it wasn't. This is actually really dark blue. But I fixed that, and this is a few hours of work for me, but this is also 18 count. So I've just been working this intense stitch with silk, and some of the colors give me trouble and some of the other colors don't, but that's okay. I think I just fear, what's it called, doing cross country when it's counted, even though like I literally do the same thing on the stamped ones. So I don't know why I'm so worried. Oh, also, I got this when I got some of the kits, unfinished kits from, I believe her YouTube is Marianne's Creative Space. She had some kits she had started in 14 count that she was having trouble seeing and or no longer wanted to finish. So I just gave her some money for shipping, and she sent me those. I'm not sure if she meant to include this in there, but this came with it. I think originally it did have one of these on it, but you know, autistic mother, autistic son, we both took part in dropping this thing, smashing it, and then it just kind of broke. So, but I'm still using it, and I'm still loving it because it's just the cutest little baby. Goodness. There we go. So, if you haven't seen the video where I've mentioned this already, I am a Mainer. I come from Maine, that little pointy bit to the top right of the US. The part where when I moved to Tennessee for a little bit to have my son, people were like, oh, you live in Canada. I'm like, no, I don't live in Canada. But it was a nice time. But yeah, it's been wet, to say the least. It's been very wet here. I'm not quite sure why, but all I can say that it has made mushroom foraging season probably the best it's been in the past 4 or 5 years. But sadly, I haven't gone because I don't have all the friends I used to have. Some have passed away. Some of them I outgrew because I realized that they had addictions that weren't healthy to be around my son or for my own mental health. So any of you younger viewers, if you have friends that you don't really disagree with or they give you stress and anxiety, I know it's hard to let go, but remember, you got to look out for who comes first, and that's you. Nope, I was going in the right one. Okay, I'm going crazy. I'm so surprised how quiet my son is being. Part of me was hoping he'd come say hi. He's the cutest little man, but oh my goodness, he is such a handful. I have to crochet like slip covers for my doorknobs and then put those white knob covers on them so he can't open them. And then my windows, I need to find a way to keep him out of my windows because he's going to fall out of them one of these days. But he's still super cute. He decided, I want to say a little over a month ago, to give himself a haircut with these because I hid all my other scissors, but I use these every day and they're shears because since I work with yarn for a living, I've also dabbled in tufting, making rugs, and so I bought these shears to tidy up my rugs when I'm done, and I decided, ooh, these work nice. I'm going to use these for everything they're not meant to be used for. And my son got a hold of them, and since they're so easy to use, he had long, beautiful hair, nice and soft, and he lopped it off right in the front center of his head, all the way at his scalp. Oh, I'm so sad I miss his hair, but I feel like that's a milestone that every kid goes through. Every kid at some point has to cut their own hair. I cut my own bangs when I was younger, and I guess he decided to give himself a haircut. He was probably tired of throwing his bangs out of his face because he's not very cooperative when you cut his hair. But I'm not the one that took him to get his head shaved. His paternal grandmother did that. I don't know who she goes to, but he seems to listen to her better when in public settings because, you know, I'm big bad mommy telling him no to juice or taking toys away when he's abusing them or hitting stuff with them. But it's okay. I love my little man. I hope that he can one day grow up and do crafts with me. I'm not sure how to figure out what he's into yet. I know his obsession is ABCs, but where he's so nonverbal, it's just hard to communicate those things with him. Just like with food. Like one week he will love grapes, and then I'll buy him a new bag the next week, and he'll look at me, smush it, and throw it, and be like, "What is that?" He just gets that look on his face, you know, of, why would you give me that? I'm realizing how slow I am when I talk. I just really want to get this done so I can start a new kit. I thought this would be fast, but between the 700 other starts I have, this is taking me forever. But I can't be the only one, like, new kits is fun. I want to start them all. I don't want them to just sit there and collect dust. Almost to the top. I would love to show you guys where all my kits are sitting, but part of me is scared because my apartment's not the cleanest right now. I'm not cleaning until tonight because my laundry just got done, and since my apartment is all windows and it's where the sun is facing, so the sun is shining into my apartment a majority of the day. It's too hot up here to do anything. And I keep the AC in my bedroom because I rather sleep in a cold room than sweat at night. And I rather sweat in the day than shower before bed. You know, get dirty through the day and sweaty, and then before you touch your bed, get all clean. Yep, see? You want bed. You were just in bed. You can go back, you know. No one's making you come out here with me. You were being good. He's currently laying over on my futon, playing with the fake ivy and fairy lights on the wall. No, are you telling me to be quiet? He sometimes says, "Do you want bed?" when he wants me to be quiet. I don't think he understands that I'm talking to a camera and not him. He's probably just wondering, like, "Mom, what are you talking about? I don't understand." Here, let me move some stuff. Here, let me see real quick. Alright, zoom out. So, my desk area, TV, and there's a top I'm currently designing, and my yarn is covered here. There are more shelves, they're just elsewhere. And then up there, you can see where all my kits are, and my sewing machine and my printer and children's artwork on the fridge. And I'm gonna try not to show my son, so whoop. Sorry about that. My camera just decided to jump. But anyways, I think that's pretty much all my little brainy brain can come up with right now. But yeah, if you guys are interested in crochet or want free tutorials, or maybe you have ideas of crochet tutorials or crochet help that you might need, I will link my Instagram, and my shop. I'm not going to link my Etsy because the prices are more expensive there. I'm trying to get people to stop buying from my Etsy because they take an ungodly amount in fees, and as someone that depends on Etsy for most of their income, you know, I kind of would like you to not buy from the site that takes the most money from me while doing the least amount of work. So I will link those for you all. And you guys can go take a peek if you so want to. Now, real quick before I go, I would like to ask you guys how you would feel about me showing off all my diamond paintings. I know not a lot of people are really into them that are into cross stitch, but let's be honest, I'm probably going to show them anyways because I have a different taste in diamond paintings than I do for cross stitch. My cross stitch seems to be more cutesy, like my shop theme, and I think that's just because I can hang these around my wall and it still be a cohesive theme, even though my decor for my living space is green and pink, or plants in pink. Yeah, I kind of lost my train of thought there. But how would you feel if I shared my diamond paintings? Would you be excited? Would you want to watch it? I would definitely have to put all my kits back together because I separated the canvases from the diamonds. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you for cross-stitching with me, and I hope this video is received well. I will definitely have to plan more topics in the future if you do want to stitch with me again. Hopefully you do, because I cannot afford to keep buying all these kits just to review them. So real quick, what we did was the darker purple and this much of the foot. And I am usually pretty fast about this, but I guess talking just kind of slows me down a bit. But thank you guys for stitching with me. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you like what you see. And I hope my conversation wasn't too weird or boring for you guys. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.